Hello, everyone, and welcome to the nightly channel that we have here.
Hello and welcome. Today we'll be discussing smooth jazz topics.
Indeed.
I really prefer some of Kenny G's early work. His clarinet solos tend to be a particular inspiration for a lot of more modern contemporaries that we see nowadays.
Indeed. Anyways, what's up, guys? I can't. So, anyways, now it's my turn, guys, again. And we're going to continue off with Skullman here that I was making. And if you're questioning the look of him right now compared to the trash fire that I had, don't worry about that. It's something called editing magic and time and patience that I had to try to make this here. So, yeah, don't worry, guys. He's looking better. He's looking like the reference. He's looking like the reference that we had.
Definitely some good improvements down in the off camera.
Yeah, definitely. So, without further ado, let's get started on the rest of him. He's looking pretty good right now, but
I think he needs a body.
Oh, definitely. He can't be a head forever.
Right.
So, Alex, I have been practicing a bit on using the cheat codes.
The cheat codes?
The cheat codes.
Oh,
yes.
Man, are you drawing a line?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
but I don't have to. I'm being lazy. I'm being lazy, and I'm actually using the.
This is master lip sprite technique here. Oh snap! He's making a curve.
There you go. I know, right? It's like watching quadratic functions.
Short keys, man.
I know, right? It's like all the effort has just been taken away. It's like I used a cheat code or something.
Using the program.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, lip sprite still has those problems where they're stuttering a bit. But I think we should be. I'm not saying smooth sailing, but more so I think we'll be okay.
Well, good on you for it, because I have learned none of that in Blender.
Yeah, don't worry. It's not. It's honestly a lack of practice sometimes when it comes down to some certain stuff like this.
Oh my goodness! But you're also drawing with a mouse.
Oh yeah.
To remind the viewers, it's a little bit different.
Oh, definitely. Let me remind you, mouse drawing is so much harder sometimes than. I'm not saying that people that draw on a pad have it easy. But drawing with a mouse is like using, I don't even know.
Yeah, but I can definitely see why command tools would really come in handy if you're doing mouse drawing.
Yes. And the thing is that using these tools actually saves a lot of time for me. So, I mean, already we have some kind of basis of a neck formation.
Yeah, it looks like it can really make it easy to do construction lines and then if you just have like general edits that you want to do,
yes,
to the overall pose, you can just kind of stretch or squash whatever you need to without having to just erase an area and then try to redraw it completely.
Right. And the thing is that like when doing this area stuff, usually when I'm drawing with this kind of software, what I like to do is I like to kind of go over it with layers. Not really like layers in where actual artists kind of do it, but layers in a sense that like putting on more and more lines, and then if I need to have some kind of like reduction look instead of making it like thick.
Oh yeah. Thick. Do you think I'm thick?
No, I don't know, man.
2 C's.
I don't know, man.
Have you not? Oh my God! This was an awesome video. Okay, I gotta pull up the name now because I don't have the name.
No, take your time.
Of the guy memorized, but give me like a hot minute here.
Yeah, no problem.
Really good. Here we go. Yeah. Really, really great animator on YouTube named Go Away Advertisement.
Oh no.
Holy crap, you suck. I hate this phone.
Don't worry about it.
Hannah Daigle.
I have not heard of it.
Yeah, HANNAHDAIGLE. They did a series where basically it's a story of like there's a human guy that's just average Joe worker.
Yeah.
And he wound up having a daughter with what's kind of like the devil. But it's a very cartoonish version. It's a female devil that looks mostly like a dragon with a little bit of human features.
Ooh.
And they have this super springy devil daughter that's like really excited about the human world, but the mom like absolutely hates anything to do with it.
Right.
But the daughter's like, oh, come on, I want a glass of water. Can you send me to the human world? And mom's like, oh,
fine.
And then calls up the human, Dave, your daughter needs a glass of water. Why, sure thing. And he's like super cheerful about it.
He's like nice.
Yeah.
So like
all for it. Basically, there was a short that he put out a week ago from time of recording where the mom was like, she had just learned the word thick. And she's like, what? And she's asking Dave, like, what is this thick?
What is this thick you speak?
So you're calling me fat? No. It's like a term of endearment. He's like, wow.
You're telling yourself that.
What do you think, Dave? Am I thick with two
C's?
and the artist drew like the thickest possible pose you could of that character. Shit. And he's like,
that's some fan art.
Yeah. And so Dave's like looking around like, yeah. It's a hoot. If anybody wants to look that up, the series is like Satania wants a glass of water.
Yeah, and the thing is that like I feel like
bring your demon to work day.
It kind of reminds me of like the series. You've seen some of this YouTube series like Hell of a Boss and
oh my god,
Husband Hotel.
Not that one, but I have seen Hell of a Boss.
I haven't yet, but I definitely want to watch some of it. It looks interesting to a point where I would like to watch
that one. I've only seen one episode of Hell of a Boss too, but I died laughing.
I mean, I guess it just has to do with like, well, obviously it's about, I guess, hellish escapades or something like that.
Yeah, it's basically like it's another kind of play on the demon creatures in the human world messing around, and I think and that from what I gathered from the episode, which I was like in the middle too.
Yeah.
That like the different demon classes aren't all friends, and then they operate separately, and they do it like as if they're businesses, and they have quotas of how many humans they have to kill every year, and they compete against each other, and they get super sassy of like, oh yeah, my organization's running way different. I remember like the episode that I saw started with like, one group parked in the other's parking space at the office building, and that that made the main guy so mad he couldn't even.
Kind of like social working like squabbles that you see.
It's like if you took The Office and made it cartoonishly evil.
Yeah, I mean, considering like
it's got some great moments, but it's that dark style humor like it's in Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy it. But yeah, super appreciative of like and these aren't just like cheesy like animated skits either. These are like full on episodes animation that you would see on TV.
Yeah.
And you're kind of surprised that this amount of effort went into a YouTube video.
I mean, there are a lot of I haven't said this yet, but there are a lot of creative YouTube people out there to make their kind of like just kind of a look, or kind of want to make a name for themselves, and like sometimes they do it on YouTube.
Yeah, there's a huge side purpose to YouTube that people use where it's a way to create not references, but a portfolio. It's how they build a portfolio of their work that they can then advertise to company or pitch to networks or do whatever they want to it. But they make that level of professional quality to show like, hey, I'm capable of doing this level of stuff.
Right. And the thing is that sometimes I really enjoy when people do that because like it creates like a certain creative value that people have.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely like
it makes it very fun, and I always enjoy the showcase of like, you don't have to have this as a job to be able to do this.
Yeah.
Like it also shows people like, hey, if you just want to casually make these things on your
go
own,
for it.
All the tools are available.
Yeah, it just depends on your creativity that you have when it comes to like making these kinds of shows and other stuff, just having kind of just the creative thought of making them. Like, and the thing is like that's another thing that like people work with, like just having creative value when it comes to making stuff, and that's really what I really like about that is like when people have the creative value to make certain content that people enjoy. And yes, certain people have like different tastes, but I mean, there are some times where people make something that's like out of the ballpark, whether it be music or videos or any kind of like commentary. So yeah. Sorry.
Well, and one thing that I think really helps foster that level of quality is actually the age of YouTube, and that it's a platform that's been around for a while now.
Right.
And if you go back and look at YouTube videos from 10 years ago, you would be shocked that was the level of quality back then. And it's not to dig on those people because that was also the level of technology, but they all watched each other over time and understood that viewers value a high production quality, and so creators have been willing to invest in that more and more and more.
Yeah.
And with what we now have the ability to donate to creators really easily. Now the viewers can say, man, I really want to help you improve your video quality. Here's some funds to, get that going. And then that makes the creator excited to be like, wow, now I'm going to really take this level of product, up a notch.
And the thing is that like when people get that creative spark, like I said, and they have people support it, like in going down, it really helps their like morality. Like it helps them like confidence in certain things. Just a lot of good vibes that you get from people that send those kinds of things. Like because it shows that people want to watch your content.
Yep,
it's definitely an interesting look.
Absolutely. The only downside that I've seen from this is that because now everyone has such a high level of production quality, it makes it intimidating for new people to look at this as a really high barrier of entry and go, wow, I have to have this really high level of equipment and editing skill and and talent to be able to produce whatever the thing is. I have to be that level of funny or that good at whatever the visual thing is that you're trying to draw people in with.
Right. The bar is usually set high when it comes to.
Yeah, it is, and that can be scary for new people. But basically, nobody comes out of the gate with that level of quality.
Oh no.
And that's kind of the thing to take away from it is that yes, this is a great standard to look up to and work towards. But everyone starts at the base level.
Oh, definitely.
There's really no magic to it. So subscriber number one is subscriber number one, no matter how much you spent on your equipment.
Oh, okay, of course. And the thing is that like sometimes you just have to get out there when it comes to just certain things. Like you can't. I mean, I'm not trying to discourage people to not start a YouTube. The thing is that you have to like be. I'm not saying be aggressive, like I said, but before I think I've said this before. But you definitely need to try and get out there to talk to people and say like, hey, like this is what I do on my YouTube channel. Like, you want to subscribe to it, or like not try to, like I said, not try to force your way to the people to talk to you or something like that. But definitely try to give off like saying like, hey, like you should try and not try, but like you want to check out my YouTube channel, just see it, like,
Yeah,
if you
don't
like
be
it
afraid to promote yourself.
Yeah, like, and I think that's also one of the things that when I did my personal channel, I was very
Check out my personal channel.
check out my personal channel. It's called Inferno Nomad. Shameless plugging, everybody. But yeah, like you definitely need to get out there and talk to people and say like, hey, like you wanna check out my channel, because everybody has their own vices when it comes to watching YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great to just get feedback, not everyone kind of thinks immediately of like the collaboration sense of, okay, we'll pool our viewers, but I there's also a whole side of value to just having experienced people or creators, or just people who watch a lot of YouTube and be able to comment and say, okay, these are things that I like, these are things that I didn't. Here's the reason why I stopped watching your video at this point.
I mean, not everybody's gonna say like, oh, your YouTube channel sucks. Like some people are always gonna have like some kind of criticism of why they stopped watching the YouTube channel. Right,
but one thing I'm noticing, YouTubers now are really taking advantage of that level of information because one of the things that YouTube is rewarding right now is watch time of the video.
Yeah,
and it's not so much like how many times does a person start your video, but it's how much time does someone spend watching your video? Do they sit through the entire thing, or is it just skipped around?
Yeah. And the thing is that like it's mostly like I don't know who has like the most like trouble when it comes to like trying to watch time. I don't know if it's like streaming sometimes, or if it's like, or it could be like certain people have a different demographic that they change to.
Well, yeah. I mean, the longer your content is, the more difficult it's going to be for people to stay engaged.
Yeah, and the thing is that like, I'm not saying the older you get, the less popular you'll become, but I'm just saying like there are certain people that definitely blow up like in the middle of like a craze of certain like video game franchises, or like animation.
Right. Well, so that's another piece to it, is YouTube is really rewarding new types of videos.
Yeah.
And formats that people haven't seen before are really starting to take off again, as opposed to having a reliable type of video and just kind of making the same thing over and over.
I mean, I'll be that person and say that I like doing that. It's not that I don't want to change. It's that like, I mean, I definitely want to have what I want on my videos.
No, there's absolutely value in that, and I don't think that the best approach is trying to chase each trend.
Yeah. Because trends definitely like go out of fad, like
right
when we're in a society like this. So that's kind of like why it's
and caveat, all this advice is coming from someone with no YouTube experience creating, but tons of hours of watching.
Definitely. And I think that's how some of us like usually start, just like when we see YouTube videos, we're like, we want to make something like that. Like we want to try to become that, like, and be popular.
I even think it's almost a necessary element to be a consumer of the product
Yeah.
that you're trying to produce, because we've all seen the corporate version of YouTube where they try to produce these very safe, that style of video, and no one watches it and or no one likes it.
Yeah.
And the main thing that they missed was that they weren't relatable to the audience.
No.
And that's because those people don't watch YouTube. That's so how can you expect them to? Don't delete everything.
Don't worry. No, I'm not trying to delete it. It was a slip. It was a slip up, guys.
Control Z.
Exactly. But yeah, like usually I think what YouTube tries to do now is that they try to get like the content creators that have had the most success and said like, hey, like you guys are like the front head of YouTube here. You're not in charge or anything, but you definitely have some way that you have a demographic of people, and you get most of the attention from these people. So what do you like? We'll humor you. I'm not saying humor you, but we'll definitely take some kind of charge from you. Like you'll be like a figurehead of YouTube. So
right, we're definitely see like YouTube is trying to corporatize itself, and it almost really kind of looks like they want to just turn into television entirely.
Yeah.
Well,
with YouTube TV, just having YouTube shorts. Well, not shorts or. Shorts aren't really like.
Yeah, and the fact that they promote company channels over individual creator channels.
Yeah, it's kind of depressing, and I know
we all saw PewDiePie and T-Series, and
yeah,
that was kind of the nail in the coffin of that world.
Yeah.
But so what I think is the way to approach it now is to not think of being a YouTuber by itself, but think of creative content as its own economy.
Yeah.
And you can produce things like you did for YouTube, but the internet is infinitely expandable, and you can post that anywhere.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure it's difficult to leave. I don't want to say leave YouTube, but just be married to the idea that YouTube is like the only thing, or that YouTube is the definition of creative content.
Yeah. And the thing is that like there's so little places to go other than YouTube, so it's kind of. You have Twitch and all that stuff, but like sometimes Twitch's creative freedoms aren't as like.
Yeah, that's all tough decisions that will be made by those people.
Yes.
But I like to think of it as there's those outlets can always be made. And are going to exist in a variety of forms. And what I think, if the content creators, just focus on their product that they're adding to the creative economy.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a place for it.
Definitely.
Even if it's not the most user friendly or or monetizable.
Right.
But that's
it just depends on how big the platform gets.
And monetizing creativity has always been like one of the hardest things to do, as like from a production standpoint.
Right.
That it's never been easy for people to make a living doing music or art.
Yeah, because sometimes you get sick of it actually.
Yeah, you get sick of it, and it's hard for the rest of the population to quantify the value of what you do.
Yeah,
because it's so unique.
Yes, and the thing is that like I'm not saying that people don't understand like when they see like content and like, oh, it's easy. Sometimes it isn't because of just how things like turn out whenever you get like too big or like too small or if you're not growing enough, like, you got to make some certain decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like that. I'm not saying that everybody has to be like that and everybody's going to be like that, but there are definitely some definitions, or not definitions, there are definitely examples of, like, people that get too big and they get kind of big-headed and, like, they get really...
Yeah.
upset.
Yeah, that's always going to be an element.
Yeah.
That's present. I mean, how do you... To try and remove ego from...
That's just not
from your passion is
yeah, that's hard.
That's a whole thing in itself.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is that, like, sometimes when you get like that, it's a humbling experience to like step back and see, like, okay, like, I guess people didn't like what I said about that, and just stuff like that,
And I think there are a lot of creators that do a great job of having that perspective.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is such a rare opportunity and so few people achieve at the level that I am, and so they spend a lot of time just thanking their audience profusely.
Oh, definitely. And the thing, I mean, I could understand that with certain people, because, like, certain people have always, like, been grinding, like, trying to do better at becoming a YouTube content creator. And while it's not obviously the most pressing job, so there are other times where, like, when you do YouTube, like, it is like, it's kind of like a job. It's just kind of just really stressful. It can be stressful to try to keep your audience, like, just not saying pleased, but more like just saying, like...
well, yeah, if you're spending more than 40 hours a week on one thing, it's going to feel like a job.
Yeah. I mean, but I've always had the idea, I'm not saying but, like, my dad or my parents have always had the idea of, like, just do something that you love sometimes. And I think there's a saying, isn't there, like, a saying in college where, like, major in what you think is a job and minor in what you love?
I have not heard that before. I like it.
I mean, I've heard of the saying. I just don't know if that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why.
Yeah, I mean, that's, the generic advice to any kind of creative is to, have the day job, do the creative thing on the side, but try to get good enough at the creative thing to turn it into your day job.
Yeah.
But
and the thing is that the funny thing is that when some of these content creators, they like to do, like, video games, and I get it. But then there are other times where, like, oh, I've had the regret of doing video games, I don't like it. And I'm just like, why? I understand that, like, people liked it, but why did you do it if you didn't like it?
Right. Yeah, and burnout is a whole nother element to it. And,
oh, yeah.
And that's that's when it would make sense to advise people, like, hey, try shifting your style of content, or
try doing this, or
come up with a new type of video or a new idea, something that you've never done before, see what happens, kind of thing.
Right.
Which can be intimidating on its own, because you're like, oh, my audience is here because they like watching this thing. If I start doing a new thing, that's going to be really different.
I'll lose. And I have to say, like, I'm not saying that people, like, come and go, but they do, like, when it comes to...
They do. And the big creators that I've seen that talk about it are, like, the audience that you gain from trying new things is worth so much more than the ones that you lose.
Yeah. And, like, I'm not saying that those people weren't fans in the first place, but, like, just... So, like, if you have I'm not saying a cult following, but if you have a following that really likes you, and just...
And you can think about this from a different kind of media perspective. Like, how of all the TV shows or movies you've ever watched, how many of them have you watched multiple times? Like, how many of them have you watched twice? And I'm sure that's a small percent. And then how many of them have you watched 3 times? That's a percent of that percent, and so on and so forth. So when
I mean, do you want me to answer that question? Like, I definitely watched I definitely watched certain things multiple times.
Right. No, everyone has something that they just love to that utmost. But for the majority of what you consume, it's gonna be a one-time thing.
Yeah, I get that. I'm just saying, like,
and so it's really hard. I think it's really hard to expect people to keep coming back to the same thing over and over and think that that's sustainable, because just in general, very few people are gonna take that level of a liking to that one thing that you're doing.
Yeah, that's true. And the thing is that, like, I guess what it has to do with certain people, not certain people, but, like, how would I say this? It has to do with, like, certain people that like that sort of idea as of when it comes to, like, whether it comes to, like, video games or, like, watching anime or, like, something like that. People have obviously different likes. Like, I mean, they have, and everybody's gonna like something different when it comes to, like, anime and video games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think if you're a creative, not to say only the true creative does this, but I think if you have that creative type personality, you're gonna naturally be trying those new things anyway, just because it's in your nature.
Yeah.
And so I don't, if you're a content creator that is, like, scared of stagnating in your content, I guess I wouldn't worry about it as much, because I think people can naturally get a sense of, like, when it's time to try something different.
Yeah, and when content creators, like, have that kind of sense of having to try something new just to keep an audience, I feel like that's a little bit forced, and I understand why people would want to, I guess, flock to other channels, because they want to see something different sometimes. So that's why they have the creative, like, just not the creative freedom, but, like, the feeling of, hey, like, I want to watch this person, I want to see what they bring to the table instead.
Oh yeah.
Instead of watching you.
And trying something new doesn't mean you have to go out and come up with this completely original idea out of the gate too. Trying something new can just be, I enjoy watching this other person do B. I'm going to try B,
Yeah.
And even though people are used to seeing me do A, I'm going to give a shot at this thing that this other person is doing, just to see what my flavor is on it.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's kind of the inspiration of the start of this channel as well, because this type of content of talking over drawing is not a new idea.
No.
But
I mean, we're not really inventing the wheel here, obviously. We're here just trying to have a good time.
We enjoy talking, and we about this stuff, and we're passionate about creating artwork.
Yeah,
that's something that we've
both
both kind of taken to.
I mean, even if we weren't, like, we definitely enjoy talking about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and so naturally, the easiest start was to kind of marry those two things and do it on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
And, as we improve over time, then new things can be attempted.
Indeed.
But right now, I have a lot of fun doing this.
Oh, I same here. Like, honestly, like, I wouldn't change it for the world, man, because it's fun just talking and, like, drawing what I want to draw, like this right here. Like, honestly, it's work, but it's not like, oh, I'm fumbling around with it, like, I hate this. Like, I'm not feeling the pressure. Oh, sorry. I'm not feeling the pressure of trying to impress everybody. I'm just here drawing, like, what I want to draw. And I like seeing what I like to see, like from that reference, and just taking it to the next level. Just kind of is fun.
Oh yeah, and like low key, like there's a lot of the artists that I watch or follow their posts of their content that I wish they did this kind of format where I could see their drawing process and they kind of talk through, you know, what they're doing and you know how they're moving what's in their head to what's on the page.
Yeah,
and that's like something I wish I would see out of them, and instead I'm the one that's doing it.
Like we both have certain ideas of what we want to do, like during this time. Like, I mean, yeah, it's not like the whole channel is not set in stone, obviously. But the thing is that like we know what we want to do. Like we want to draw something, and it's just how it is. Like, just
one thing I really appreciate about you is that you have a unique skill set. You know that I haven't seen pixel art before.
Oh yeah,
being developed like this. This you know I watched a lot of hand drawing and pencil you know style artwork. But this is a whole nother world of art that you know that I don't have any experience in or like understanding of.
Right. And that's fair. I mean, people have, like I said, I've said this obviously in like certain episodes, that everybody has their own way of doing something when it comes to like artwork. Like it doesn't matter if like it could be even like graffiti, like just people having this love of art. I mean, and I'm not saying like everybody has to be artistic. No. I'm saying that like everybody has like their own kind of art they excel at.
Yeah, and it's not even all visual.
No, it's not.
One thing that's nice about the technology that we have today is that visual art is very easy to record now.
Oh yes, and like that's also another thing that YouTube, like or not YouTube, but like content creators were like just kind of like older ones were like just these people have it really easy now because of just the advances we have made like with recording technology. Oh, you good?
Excuse me.
No, it's fine. I should probably make this a little bit smaller.
All right, so we've got the neck filled in pretty nicely here.
Yeah.
Moving on towards kind of the shoulder.
Yeah, here's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make this a little bit smaller, not like small enough to like not have a shoulder, but definitely like looking like it should have like kind of a. This is a kind of a. I'm not saying this is a strategy I do, but this is what I like to do. What I like to do is that I like to have like 3 different levels of where I want certain body parts. So like with this one right here, in the reference picture, I'm trying to make like the chest, kind of part of the chest area, because I want to use, I want to try to make this kind of, don't worry guys, Alex is just coughing up his lung. You good? You good?
I'm good. Just try not to hack into the microphone.
Oh, no problem. That'd be very...
Yeah, but I see how you're starting to try to layer on the parts of the shoulder.
So uncivilized. Hello
Hello there.
there.
Hello there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a meme group that I never thought I would fall into, but like prequel memes is a
oh my god. Okay, now
what a fun time, man.
I'm gonna get roasted so hard.
Just like the 50-armed General Grievous.
With all the lightsabers.
Absolutely
I love it.
Ridiculous.
Okay, now, and here's actually one of my, I'm not saying idols, but I love, and I'm gonna be that guy. I love General Grievous. I think he's like my favorite character. I'm sorry, like
he's pretty fun in Star Wars Battlefront too.
it's not even like the whole Battlefront
PS2.
thing. It's the whole like his lore, his extended lore, is so interesting.
I really like the idea of like he wanted like the upgrades of a machine to be added to him, and so he had like all of his like skin stripped off or whatever, and had these plates fused onto him.
Okay, let me explain to you. And I'm not trying to say like, oh, that canon is wrong. I don't like. I'm sorry. Anybody that likes the extended canon of Grievous, I'm not saying that I hate that's origin point, but I don't like it.
Well, my understanding is that he's part of this other type of warrior culture, and he was really like famed and renowned for being a great tactician.
He's a Kongan, and in the culture of he's a Kalish. In the culture of the Kalish, he's basically like a demigod. Like he's of a warlord. Like he's so renowned as a warrior.
Wow.
And this is the Legends canon mostly. But the thing is that what I loved about the Legends canon is that, and I know people will be like, "Oh, this is stupid," but I love it. Like his extended Legends canon origin story is like, it's so tragic to hear about because
what, his family die?
No, it's more like his it's kind of like a soulmate. Her name was Rondaru. And, like, they met in, like, kind of a dream. They met in, like, a dream.
Bruh.
Well, no. They didn't meet in a dream, but, like, it was him. It was, like, him going to the priest. And, like, he had a dream of, like, slaying a certain creature in his homeland when he was still, a full-on Kalish.
Yeah.
And then, like, when he met the Mumu, which was the thing, that he was supposed to kill. That's what it's called.
All right.
Instead of him killing it, it was Rondaru that came around that killed it.
Oh.
And she
stole my kill.
Basically,
and she stole my heart.
Well, kind of. It's kind of what happened. But the thing is, was like they met together. Grievous was good with the slug thrower rifles. If you don't know, people in Star or people that aren't really like well versed in slug throwers. Slug throwers are basically like regular bullets instead of blaster bolts. So they're kind of ancient compared to
it's shooting a projectile, not a laser.
Not a laser. Actually, fun fact about that is, well, not fun fact, but mostly like if you shoot a slug thrower at a person using a lightsaber, it doesn't reflect the bullet or anything like that. It actually goes through it.
Oh, they can't like cut it?
Oh, I mean, they can pierce. I mean, they can hit it, but like the slug thrower will go through the lightsaber.
Right.
And it's really interesting.
Yeah, because it's a physical material.
Yeah, it's not light that's being shot. Like, but anyways, I'm getting off topic. The thing is that she used like lig blades, and those are kind of like what would I call those like as an equivalent? Lig blades kind of look like what do they look like? I don't know, but like
they're like small swords.
Not really. They kind of look like backwards blades. You know how like you hold them back.
He's got like, curved swords.
Kind of, yeah. Like they kind of like hold them backwards, and they it kind of looks like a blade that would hold backwards. And
they have that knife like style position.
Yeah, but it has that really strange curve, and it looks really awkward.
Does it have like the L bend like a kukri?
Kind of, yeah. Oh no, not like that, but like it has a bend.
Or does it like the Prince of Persia?
It kind of looks like it kind of looks like a Falchian, you know, or not a Falchian, but like that Falchian curve.
Yeah.
Anyways, so they meet, and then the thing about it is that they both teach each other like how to use certain like. She teaches him how to use lig blades. He teaches her how to shoot a slug thrower, and they fight against the people that were oppressing them, which are called the Huck. They kind of look like praying mantis and stuff.
All right.
They're called in their culture soulless ones, because apparently they have no soul or something. But either way, the pair was kind of like, I'm not saying unstoppable, but they were definitely like. They were a pair like
pretty formidable.
Yeah, they were just a warrior pair. And the thing was with Kaleem, which is Grievous's actual name. I was gonna say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for some reason.
Insider knowledge for you Star Wars fans.
But yeah. And then one day, Rondaroo was ambushed by the Huck because whoops. At that time and point in time, the Huck were just getting pushed back by Grievous and also the following that he had, like with all of the Kaleesh, like because they're such a warrior tribe kind of place.
Yeah, he had a whole crew that was running with him.
Yeah, he had like a elite guard that he made like for himself.
Almost a small army.
Yeah, well, he basically did. He basically had a small army. He was. I'm not saying he was unstoppable, but like he pushed. They were pushing the Huck back.
They were winning.
Yeah, well, not really. They were still fighting. Like they were just on. I'm not saying equal grounds, but they were definitely like taking it to them. Then, like I said, one day, Rondaroo got ambushed alone because I think something happened. I'm not saying something happened, but like she was alone when she was fighting, and she was ambushed and killed by the Huck. She was drowned in the sea, and
that'll kill him.
And Grievous, he took the name Grievous because of the grief he felt when he saw her die. Well, not really saw her die, but like felt her die and stuff.
That's so heavy, man.
I know, and the thing was, it was so sad because
you see him in the movies, and you don't think anything like that.
You don't, and the thing is like George Lucas is trying to say like, oh, that didn't really like that's not really Grievous's origin story, but I'm like, but that's so much more interesting compared. And I think what he wanted, he didn't want Grievous to have like kind of a humanizing feeling compared to like Vader, where Vader was like obviously Anakin Skywalker, and like he had just certain.
But that adds more context to why Grievous is like so merciless when he's hunting Jedi.
Well, that comes a little bit later. So like I said, like the thing was, he was so filled with grief, he took 10 wives.
Yeah.
He was
grieving so hard, I built a harem.
He literally built a harem. And it's so sad to see because, like, I'm not saying he didn't care about his wives.
10 of you couldn't compare to one of her.
Because like I said, like, Kaleesh customs are just kind of different. So it's like, when he found his soulmate, when he saw her die, like it just wasn't to be, you know? It just wasn't. It was something that hurt him to a point where he'll never recover. And it's sad to see because obviously, you know, like he'll never love. It's kind of like, I'm not saying this is in real life, but sometimes people just cannot get over the fact that someone, like they love someone so much that they can't get over.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah. And it's so sad to see.
Every high school teenager.
But, yeah, like, it's depressing. So, afterwards, Grievous led a campaign against the Huck. And this is where it starts to get a little bit more, like, warlord kind of thing. So, he gathered most of the Kaleesh that were fighting. And he decided to create an army to fight back against the Huck. And he succeeded by getting rid of the Huck off of his planet. And then they started attacking. And then they're like, oh, this is payback for trying to slave us. And he decided they want to attack their worlds. And they were causing damage. And then they were like, oh, and then the Huck were like, oh, we got to tell the Republic about this. And they did. And then they sent the Jedi to oppress the Kaleesh.
Oh, that's slick.
And like make embargoes with them, like trying to like stop them from getting.
Make him look like this real bad guy.
Yeah, and it was really sad to see. And I was like, wow, his people are being oppressed by the government, and like they didn't have any people to represent them because they're kind of tribal.
Yeah, and then just because the Huck went and told on him first.
Yeah, they're the bad guys.
They won the favor of the Republic.
Yeah, so it's kind of screwed up when you see it that way. So then, that's when Grievous decided. I'm not saying decided, but
vowed.
It gave him kind of a feeling of I hate. I'm not saying I hate the Jedi, but why is the Republic doing this to my people? It's
a big piece of the motivation. Yeah.
Yes. So then, what's actually very interesting was that not Count Dooku, but the CIS, which is the Confederacy of Independent Systems, which is the other side of the spectrum, and this was the banking clan, the IBC, the International Banking Clan. Sand Hill actually decided to strike a deal with Grievous if he decided to become a guy for kind of a tax broker, not a tax broker, but kind of a guy that just not runs down people for money, but
a collector.
Yeah, like a debt collector.
Ah.
If you shake these people, we'll help your people not say thrive, but
not be ruined by the Republic.
Yeah. And Grievous, he hated the idea of it. He hated the idea of just becoming a thug that just shakes people down for money. But he wanted to do it for his people. And sometimes, the greater good of your people could definitely hold a candle to, try to make you do decisions that you don't want to do. But you have to. So he did that. And then, after doing that for a bit, there was a dispute over what happened back on Kali. The Huck were disgracing burial grounds, sacred burial grounds, and Grievous didn't like that. He didn't, because like I said, he's still a warlord of their people. He's basically one of their leaders. So he didn't like that, and then when he was going back to Kali, the banking clan and the separatists didn't like him leaving his post and saying hey, you need to keep on doing this. Then they were okay, then the separatists or the Confederacy were trying to find a way to keep Grievous in the palm of their hands so they can use him constantly. So what they did is when the Huck were attacking, or quote unquote attacking, they set a bomb on the ship, the shuttle that he was in, along with his Ishavar, which are basically his elite warriors.
Yeah.
And the separatists blew it up with him in it.
Oh my God.
And all of his not ancient warriors, but all of his elite warriors died from the explosion, except for him.
Aww.
And then what happened next was Count Dooku showed up to save his life, to keep him in stasis. Used a Sith, used a Sith technique to try to keep him alive.
Right.
And then
stabilized him.
Yeah. So then what happened next was the transformation of him, him getting transformed by the CIS by Pulgar the Lesser, which was he's a Geonosian. He's the Archduke.
I remember him.
He's the guy that looks has he looks like he has kind of, I don't know, a beard or something? I don't know.
Yeah, it's got a little tentacle beard.
Yeah. They decked him out in Durasteel, which was really high-grade armor, or high-grade
armor.
Yeah. Armor, yeah. Just say armor. Just really high-grade stuff. And then they decided to make his reflexes, put ships in there to help his reflexes. They put his organs in kind of a skin sack, in the middle, kind of just making this this proto Anakin kind of, or proto Darth Vader.
Cyborg-ish, yeah.
And I guess that's what George Lucas entailed when it came down to Grievous himself. Like, just try to make something like how Vader was gonna look. Like
the Subject Zero.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously they succeeded, and Grievous was born anew as a new body. And the thing is, he obviously hated the body of being a not a droid, but like just a cyborg.
Right.
He hated it, and it's really depressing to see, because having your whole life thrown away.
Yeah, he's lost everything.
And the thing is, he was
constant pain.
He was manipulated by both.
He can't breathe.
Well, he's basically dying. He's like on a respirator.
He's got like a low-key tuberculosis.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't always the case, but anyways, here's the deal. He was just manipulated by both the Separatist and the Republic.
Yeah, he never got a fair deal from anyone.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not saying I feel bad for him, because he's obviously like, how'd I get here?
Easy there.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Zoom out.
I can't. The thing is really slow.
Cancel the line. Oh, is it lagging on your?
Yes, it is. Don't worry. It's mostly the software for
Yeah, we're not operating on the highest end graphics card here.
No, it's fine.
Ladies and gentlemen.
It's okay. I can still make it work. I just got to go a little bit slower.
That's interesting that pixel art would give it a fit, though. Well, we're also recording at the same time. That's what's freaking it out.
Kind of.
It's two screens. It's recording. It's drawing.
It's like it can't handle it.
It's too much.
Oh no!
Panic.
But yeah, like the Separatists manipulated him, thinking it was the Jedi and the Republic that did this to him. Like, and that's why he has such a hatred for it, because he was manipulated to hate them. When really, in reality, it was the Separatists that put a bomb in him, or put a bomb in his shuttle to kill him, and all of his Ishtar.
It wouldn't have taken much for him to turn on Count Dooku either.
Well, yeah, because he was also a Jedi, but the thing is, he saved him, so like he has some kind of
lightly indebted.
Yeah, kind of. Also,
I'm sure he hated being in charge of droids as opposed to his own warriors.
Yeah, he did. No, he definitely hated being in charge of droids. Like it was something he really did not like. Mostly because he obviously like was so much more different, and like the droids just could not follow the commands.
No, their competency level is pretty poor.
Well, actually, it's a funny story about that, but I'll get that in a bit later.
Well, I like how it was addressed in the Disney Clone Wars animated series. That they basically have like different levels of being able to operate.
No, I definitely love that. Oh, that's so weird.
And then wasn't there a whole thing like when the droids were first, it was like the difference between the first movie and the second movie, where the droids were all like commanded from the ship, and then when little Anakin blows up the ship, then they all shut down. But afterwards, they spread out where they're like there's a bunch of different like command droids that basically radio out what they're supposed to do, and so they're not as centralized in their instructions to prevent that situation.
Right. But. And the thing is, that's also just kind of a flaw with the Trade Federation stuff, like in terms of technology. Obviously, they got better when the CIS like kind of formed, like because there are definitely differences, like with each faction of the Confederacy, like with the Techno Union, like they're all about like making droids and stuff, like just kind of like newer models.
Yeah, I like that it wasn't just another government, or it wasn't like ex-Republic
Yeah, that's
people.
kind of what my...
It was just all of these other types of businesses that were operating elsewhere and wanted to do their own thing. And then of course they got kind of worked into the whole Sith master plan, but
Well, it wasn't really part of their plan in the first place because like Sidious was obviously pulling the strings.
yeah, but really that like the banking clan and the Techno Union just wanted to be independent of the Republic and do business.
Yeah,
but they didn't want to take over the galaxy necessarily.
Funny thing about it was like Genosians, they were very violent. Like they're more about war, about killing each other also as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they have no problems with going on a war path compared to like other races. Was actually really cool. One of the races that I really liked was the Umbarans.
Who were those
the
guys?
Shadow people. They wore helmets and they were they're actually really cool.
Let me look it up.
They're kind of shady kind of characters. Like they're
good pun.
Well, not like that, but I mean, kind of too. But anyways, so yeah, Grievous did hate.
Oh, those guys, and that was the Mon Mothma or whatever was the. What one of them was like that was at Palpatine's side.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's the dudes with the huge neck rolls, basically. On.
Oh, you're talking about the Toughs, I think, or the.
I looked up Umbaran, and that's what's showing up.
Oh, okay.
Is there a different kind of Umbaran?
No. I think you got it. But anyways, yeah.
I'm sorry. Mon Mothma was in the original trilogy.
Yeah, she was.
I can't remember the name of the lady that was in the Senate because they like the two hinge people was the blue guy with two horns on top, two horns.
Oh, that's
on bottom.
Masamita.
And the other one was the bald.
She looked
totally
like
pale.
She
person.
looked like Asajj Ventress, honestly.
Yeah, it's hard to look at a bald pale lady and not think of Asajj Ventress.
It's just it looks so similar to her.
Who is an awesome character, by the way.
I think she's cool. I mean, I don't like her as much as Grievous, and that again, I'm kind of biased on that one.
I liked how she was kind of like Obi-Wan's rival.
Yeah, and then she started to mellow out more as the series went on.
And if you ever read the Clone Wars comic book series, they explore that relationship between Ventress and Obi-Wan a lot, and like they trade off capturing each other and have a lot of interaction, and you kind of understand why she hates him so much, and he can't lose. Well, and you get a good showing of how formidable Obi-Wan is as a warrior.
Oh no, I've always thought Obi-Wan was like one of the most resilient Jedi ever. I mean, constantly fighting Grievous and like other characters, just to survive it. It's just ridiculous. Like how is like, I'm not saying Constitution, but just how durable Obi-Wan really is.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome.
I mean, he's not a good, I'm sorry to say he's not really a good general. He's not a good leader in battle, but he's definitely like...
He's a great Jedi.
He's definitely a good Jedi. Like, the fact, like I said, like, I keep on, like, I'm on the whole Grievous bandwagon, but the only reason why Obi-Wan was able to just completely beat Grievous was because he was one of the most practitioners of, like, the biggest practitioners of Sorusu, and that's like the biggest defense practice of Jedi form technique.
That's kind of something I would have liked to have seen more of, and maybe it's out there and kind of the
it is. It's just
Star Wars stuff. No. I'm about to say the transition of the Jedi to being generals. And like how they learned how to command armies. Because that's not something like the Kaminoans taught the clones how to be soldiers, but who taught the Jedi how to run an army?
Yeah, because I mean, they are not generals. They are not army people. They are kind of monks. They are monks.
Yeah, they've got a basic understanding
of conflict
of
fighting,
war tactics, but if you dig into anything Clone Wars related, you can see how they piecemeal, how to engage an entire planetary battle.
I mean, certain other characters in terms of heritage are different from others.
Well, you're right. Some of them kind of came from warrior cultures, and they had all the literature to study.
Yeah, but some of them that became Jedi that are like generals, they're peacekeepers. They don't really fight as much.
Yeah.
So they're not. I'm not saying they're not cut out to be generals, but they're just not cut out to be leaders of the army.
One of the things that I really enjoyed in the comic books, though, it showed how, because the masters were older, they had spent most of their upbringing in peacetime, and then were thrown into this general position. But the Padawans were kind of raised in the war environment. And so in the comic books, a lot of times the masters died and the Padawans had to take over.
Yeah.
And you saw the Padawans would be really ready to go on their level of leadership, because all they had known was the war. Yeah. And so it's interesting to see the transition and how some of them really strayed, after their master got killed, they really strayed from the Jedi path,
yeah.
But they became great generals.
Yeah. And the thing is that they lose kind of the thing that makes them Jedi.
Yeah, and it's cool to see that play.
Oh, I like that. And I'm not saying that peaceful Jedi are not optimal, but it's just it's cool to see certain things about Jedi, about some of these Jedi know how to.
Yeah, and it's a fun conflict of how, when circumstances change so dramatically, how much can you stick to your principles, kind of thing. There was a lot of that would go on.
Yes. And the thing is that certain Jedi are, like I said, are kind of built to fight compared to others. If you look at I think the biggest person was Ki-Adi-Mundi. He was kind of his. I'm not saying his culture, but I think his culture kind of gave him the fact that he's kind of a rough taskmaster, but he's definitely good at fighting. I mean, because like I said, when he was fighting General Grievous at Hypori, he was trying his best to fight him while he was weakened. He barely survived. And the thing is that Grievous, like I said, he's not someone to fuck with. When fighting a Jedi,
no.
Obviously, he has certain aspects that he has to take in order to defeat a Jedi. Because, like I said, or not like I said, but the biggest thing about the Force is it is the biggest cheating mechanic in the entire series. Let me tell you that.
The ultimate cop-out.
Fighting a person without that power, it is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
It is like night and day.
You have to really be able to adapt.
And that's why Grievous, and that's why I like Grievous so much, because I think sometimes he's an underdog. Because
some bounty hunters could get an edge on Jedi with technology, but Grievous could pull it off just by himself.
Yes, and certain...
it's just a whole nother level of cool.
And the thing is, here's the deal. Here's what my biggest problem was, when I saw it. And this is, something that... I'm not saying that I hate it, but the fact that it wasn't explained, and I wish it was another weakness to people... Dooku said in the Clone Wars cartoon, and I know it's not canon, he said that the only way to defeat a Jedi is to have fear, surprise, and intimidation. And that's the biggest way to defeat a Jedi. Like only like if you do not have, if any of that is lacking,
it's getting in their head. Yeah.
If any of it is lacking, then you must retreat.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's a good idealistic way to say that, to surprise everyone and stuff, you know. But the thing, here's my issue with it. What I wanted to see was that, like, the biggest thing is that Jedi, obviously, compared to Grievous, he is a robot. He is a cyborg.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't feel, I'm not saying he doesn't feel tired, but I'm saying, like, I don't think he will feel fatigue as the battle continues.
No, he can win the endurance element.
That's why I'm like, I would have loved to see, like,
Yeah, and that was something you always saw was Grievous would relentlessly pursue
because he's so
Jedi across a lot of cases, and basically all we were shown was the final battle.
Yeah,
but it was very evident that, you know, before the engagement, the Jedi are very much fatigued and under-equipped and have been on the run for quite some time.
Yeah.
And he's just like a non-stop wall coming at you.
Yeah, and the thing is that what I loved about, and I know, like I said, right in the nuts of episode of that Star Wars: The Clone Wars one.
Yeah.
But I loved that fight because everybody was so, like, and people could say and like, oh, like that's so unrealistic. Grievous could never defeat all these Jedi at once. I'm like, yeah, but this is a different circumstance. He's not fighting them as they're fresh. He's fighting them like when they're tired. They've been beaten.
Usually what happens is this whole battle will start between the clones and the droids, and the Jedi will be in that battle constantly engaging the droids throughout, and have usually by the end of it come out with some pretty major casualties, and then Grievous shows up.
Yeah, and
he doesn't even have to be in the battle. He just comes afterwards to pick on you.
And the thing is that, like, I think what we forget and this is what Clone Wars does, like, really poorly sometimes, is that Grievous is a good tactician, but every time that I see him on the Clone Wars show, he gets beaten like a Saturday morning cartoon villain.
Yeah,
and it's so depressing.
That's a plot part,
and I hate it. And yeah, I get that, but that doesn't mean that the plot. That doesn't mean that you just give up on, like, trying to make him, like, intimidating. You try, like, what you should try to do is try to have people. I'm not saying you should create characters just to kill them off, but, like, actually create a story with certain characters that aren't, like, plot armored related heavy, you know?
So the comic books did that well.
Yeah.
They did that a lot better, where they were characters that you would get invested in, and they would wind up not making it in the end. And you're like, holy crap, that, you know, how bad is Grievous or Dooku to show up and finish these guys off after the fact that what we've seen them through.
Right.
One thing that I also enjoyed about the comic books was the battles weren't just
one-sided.
No, they weren't just droids and clones.
Yeah.
A whole nother part of the Galactic Civil War was planets deciding to separate from the Republic.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of battles fought with native populations of those planets.
Definitely.
That had to be dealt with, and then the droids would be tacked onto the battle.
Yeah.
Like, because they would, basically the plan would go, we're leaving, send us a division, and we know the Republic's coming. We're gonna fight them off.
Yeah.
And then oh my God, there's a great case in the comic books, the Battle of Jabim, where basically the native population was on the fence, and the Republic invested a lot in trying to convince them to stay.
But they didn't.
And we're fighting against the droids, but the native population of the planet also fractioned and is going with its own civil war. So they're, you're fighting them and the droids, and you have some of the natives on your side with the Jedi and the clones. They wind up basically winning the planet.
Yeah. What, the clones or
the Jedi? They won. They basically won enough where they could pull off the population that was on the Republic side, and the goal was to be able to pull them back to Coruscant and let the CIS and the other side of the natives hold the planet, but you can still save the people.
Yeah.
Basically, and what wound up happening was they were stretched too thin, and there was the Republic, and there was only enough resources to pull the Republic's army off of the planet.
Yeah.
So the natives absolutely resented them for this, and immediately the whole planet turned to join the CIS, and Anakin's watching this like, oh my God, this war is bad. Terrible.
Yeah, and the thing is also like you have to understand with Anakin, like he's being resented as not resented. He's being like represented as like the biggest hero. Like, oh, he's the chosen one. He's supposed to bring balance to the Force. He has so much pressure on his fucking neck right now because of this war, and how he's supposed to be like the biggest hero of the world or of the universe, basically. You know?
Oh yeah, but we do not grant you the rank of master.
You're on this council. We do not grant you the rank of master.
This is unfair.
How could you not be a master?
Take a seat, young
Skywalker. But anyways, yeah. Back to my original discussion.
I was talking where we started.
No. I was talking about Grievous.
Oh yeah, this is about
the droids. So the thing is that with Grievous is that he hated the droids so much, and and then they went into talks about like trying to get actual like decent droids, and they're basically like that's where the Magna Guards came in.
Yeah.
But Grievous hated them so much, he was like, these things are so clunky, they don't know what to do. So he destroyed them in a fit of rage. So he just like, I hate these things. I want these things to copy my style, like of Ishivar. And that's why like they have the staffs, because the Ishivar are also trained in like staffs as well.
Right. They were pretty effective.
Yes, they were. Actually, in lore, like Magna Guards were so deadly to, like, if a Jedi or like a Padawan, like if he wasn't careful, they could get themselves killed. Like they've fallen to Magna Guards, and clones are like,
they get shredded.
They pray that they don't fight Magna Guards because they're so powerful.
Yeah.
And the thing is that the reason why these units aren't so prominent is because of cost. Like, they're so expensive. So that's why it's like,
yeah,
you don't see them so many times. You only see them with like high generals, like with either like, you know, the CIS, like,
yeah,
the CIS people like Dooku.
It was a top level person if they were getting escorted by Magna Guards.
Yeah, and usually Grievous kept his own, and he kept on. Funny thing is that anytime they got injured or any kind of like damages, he just left them like that because like it gives them personality.
Yeah,
and I like that touch. I think it was cool.
Yeah, but they all wore capes too.
Oh yeah, Grievous's ones did, just to like signify like kind of looking like Kalish, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he taught them, and then what Dooku did, like he was like, okay, let me train you in the Jedi fighting forms, and he taught him all the battle stances to make him.
He taught him all the button combos.
Basically, he taught him everything about like stances and like just he was a tough. Like honestly, Dooku was a decent master.
Bonus
because he was
damage
taught by,
for the tip of the sword.
Because he was shut up. he was taught by Yoda. Like you have to remember.
Yeah, It's not Dooku's its own.
Dooku's not anybody to trifle with.
He knows.
Why do you think? I mean, honestly, every time that Dooku has fought, he's always beat Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
because he has such an aggressive style that Obi-Wan can't handle it. That's why Anakin had to do it, and Anakin was feeling the pressure of the dark side, obviously at that time.
Right.
But anyways,
Do it.
yeah, exactly. I shouldn't do it.
Should I do it?
Do it.
Really? Do it.
Do it.
Kill him.
Kill him now. But yeah, like just stuff like that. Anyways, I think here.
I know we've got a pretty good chest plate forming right here.
Yep.
All the way down to his little sternum crest and.
All right. All right. I think. It's supposed to look like an egg yolk.
Trying to match colors.
Yes.
Little bit of yellowing, not just a pure white, and that's something that can be layered in too.
Yes. There we go. I think that's good enough for that, and then pure white.
Yeah, definitely. You've really gotten to take advantage of the the mechanics of the program and being able to squash and stretch.
Yes.
Forms after you've outlined them. That looks like it's really coming handy instead of having to try to redraw each line.
Oh God, I'll be here forever.
And I always appreciate that piece because you can draw a part really, really well, but it just not be sized correctly, and you're like, man, I don't want to lose.
Yeah, I don't want to use valuable time.
I just need to shape it in the right way, and that's really cool that you could pull this off in this one.
Yeah.
There's probably a way to do that in Blender.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how. Could be something I should learn.
No, that's fine.
I'm sure it'll come in the future.
Definitely. I don't need this line anymore, I think.
Fire that line.
No, wait. I think I did.
Yeah.
Damn it.
It's alright. Oh my goodness.
What time are we at?
1:20.
Damn.
We're having a good day.
Definitely, yeah. Alright.
Tell you what, I almost missed my meeting this morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I came back from work and then ate dinner and then was like, oh, it's got like 30 minutes. I'm kind of tired. Let's take a nap. And you always nap a little bit too long.
Oh, yes.
You never try to, but you're like, it can't be that long. I'm not going to set an alarm. Always set an alarm. Don't trust yourself on that one. You will sleep over.
Yes, you will.
Like it's just too easy. And so then the gig was at like 5:30, and so I fire up at like 5:37, and it's like that drowsy. It's not like waking up from a nap when it's cut kind of short is one of like the hardest things to wake up from.
Oh, yes.
And you're super out of it, but you look at the clock and you're like, oh my God, I'm late. And I'm like stumbling around to try and turn on the computer to get logged onto the thing. And like my heart's beating really fast because it's like, it's not ready for this whole shock.
It's like the Home Alone thing. It's like, we did it.
Yeah. And so I'm just like rolling around the apartment trying to set up for this goofy meeting, and I wound up not being too late, but naps will catch you.
Yeah,
you won't even you'll just be laying there going, I'm just gonna rest for a second. You're not even gonna realize that you just fell asleep, and
I think
boom,
this
out of
is
it.
a decent stopping point right here.
Yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah,
we've got a lot of progress made, definitely.
Definitely from last time compared to the head.
Good neck, chest plate. We've got
a little bit
off,
a little bit off, but I think it's decent now right here. So
And once you get the arms in,
Oh yeah,
you're going to be able to see the form better and be able to proportion everything
right.
just to the way you want it. But
Yeah.
great outline to start with.
Yeah, definitely a good starting point for this drawing from the head, from the neck down. But anyways, so with that, since we actually did the 25 expressions last 2 episodes, I will be coming back for the next one on.
Yes,
the next time.
I secretly stole the alternating episode format.
How dare you?
Without even realizing it. I just kind of showed up and was like, you know what, I'm going to keep drawing. Because I thought it was my turn. And just had totally forgotten about last week.
No, definitely.
So now,
I get it.
Now we're going to give Jordan the double up.
Yeah, I'm going to...
to even it out.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to keep on watching me have this kind of look similar to the drawing reference, then just tune in and see what happens next time.
Awesome. Thank y'all so much for joining us.
Yeah, please.
It was a lot of fun today.
Yeah, definitely. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of this stuff right here and want to listen to us constantly talk about other topics.
But we'll try not to glue to Star Wars too much next time.
Honestly, I like talking about Star Wars.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, and you can just go on a tangent with it, with any kind of, whether it be like the Republic or the Empire, or like afterwards. You know?
It's got such a wide breadth
of information and knowledge, lore.
What do you call that? World building.
Yes, indeed. But remember, no disintegrations.
All right, we'll see y'all next time.
Yeah, see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.